Hey you guys, welcome back to another video and let's get straight into it. So in today's video we are going to be talking about how we can make this cheap like $80 eBay wire tuck harness for our B20, and we're going to convert this into a harness that will work on our standalone Link ECU. So the way we're going to be doing that is I'm going to pull up the wiring diagrams for the connectors here that go to the PCM. We're going to chop them off, and then we are going to crimp them onto our Link connectors that will be plugging into our Link, of course. And yeah, it's just going to be like a, it's not going to be an exact how-to, because, these harnesses, I feel like they're all pretty like generalized. So like some are the same, some aren't the same. This is an OBD1 harness. There's also this whole issue of the this C101 connector. This is like what's supposed to give power to the harness from the fuse box. So we're gonna have to figure out a different way to power this harness up. I'm thinking we're just gonna get like a main relay or something, because I am fairly certain that there is no fuse box in my hatch. So we're gonna just use this, and we're gonna figure out what to do with that. And some necessities you're gonna need. I would really recommend this kit right here. I'd recommend this master terminal kit. It's on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for it. And with this kit, it comes with all you need to crimp half barrels, barrel terminals for ECUs and stuff. Like here's what one of them looks like. This is the a really nice name brand one that I bought, but then I ended up buying the whole kit. So I got that just because it also has a crimper there for the weather sealed terminals, and I need those because little spoiler for you guys, I'm going to be making a hybrid harness for the Subaru, so that way instead of using the temperature sensor that's in the MAF on the stock in the stock location where the MAF is, you can run a GM air intake temperature sensor into your intercooler, and that way you can monitor what your actual air temps are in your car. Won't pull timing and run with less power when it's hot outside, just because engine bay temperature is high but not your intercooled temperature. You get me? So anyway, enough yapping. Let's go ahead and set this up. We're probably going to be using the welding table just because the engine building side is a little cluttered right now. So yeah, let's go ahead and get you right there. Alrighty then, you guys, so here we are at the welding table. Let me pull this down a little bit more for you guys. And here's the harness. So here is the ECU side, and as you can see, just a quick little overview of the eBay harness here. It's cheap, you can tell. I mean, the connectors look like decent quality. They're really stiff. I mean, overall it uses all right sheathing. The glue it uses, like for this damn, what do you call this? For the shrink wrap, that's what it is. It's not really that high quality. It's definitely not DR25. At least if it is, it's really cheap ones. But yeah, so you got everything here. You got your injector, or you got your injectors, you got your intake air temperature sensor and alternator, and your oil pressure sensor. So there are a couple things that we are probably gonna have to depin and repin, just because we're gonna be running a different style of sensor. So for example, like this air intake temperature sensor, this is for the stock one. We're probably gonna take this out and put in a GM one, because with the GM one, I'll be able to use a more accurate and a more faster responding intake temperature sensor. I think this one, it's old technology. It probably takes forever to get back. This is the general grounds portion, and it's gonna be a little confusing. I'm gonna try my best to explain to you guys, because this is my first time actually even doing a conversion for a harness like this to a standalone. Usually you start off from scratch, and that way you can kind of work at it. But I mean, I guess the nice thing it does is here is like your junction connector. It has all your grounds. I'm guessing this is all your powers in one spot. So that's cool, you know. This is all like probably all your sensor grounds and all your sensor powers. But yeah, man. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pull up the wiring diagram. And oh yeah, so this is what the connectors look like for the Link ECU 2. This is A and B. They're just both 36 pin connectors, or is it 32? Yeah, they're both 36 pins, and I'll show you how to open them up in a bit. And these are what all the pins look like. So they're half barrel. I'll cut the wires here because I can't use these pins. These are different style pins. They're all square, and then I'll restrip them. Put these the Link kind in. Anyway, I'm yapping. So to start off things first, we're gonna pull up our diagram on my phone. We're gonna chop this up. We're gonna open these up, and then I'll bring out the tools that we're gonna need, and then I'll show you what else we do from there. Alrighty then, you guys. So here we go. Let me show you. So here I have the pinout here for our Link ECU plug, and the way you look at this, it says it right here. You view it in looking into the wire side of the connector, so that would be this side because this side goes into the ECU. So then this one top left, or number 1, would be the injector 4, and then 3, 2, 1, and so on, as you can see right there. So that's A, and then we have B right here, and we're gonna be basically using this to figure out exactly what we're gonna need from these, okay? And to figure out what these are, the only thing that we're gonna need is the wiring diagram for the harness, which this one's so this one's an OBD1 harness, and with that, we know that we need to find out the OBD1 pinout, which we have right here. If we look right here, we have our connector. It even has a picture for us. This is our ABD connector. This one being A, this one being B, and then this one being D. And then even here, we got our connector right here. This is what connector A, all the wires are, connector B, and what all they are. And then down here, connector D, what these are. So basically what we can do is we can go to our Link one, figure out what we need here. Okay, here we go, injector 4, 3, 2, 1. And now here's the funny thing. So because we are going to be using a distributor to just read, we're using it only to read the signal. And we're going to be putting some coil on plugs for the car. Probably going to be putting some K20 coil packs. But yeah, man, so basically we're just gonna be going back and forth from here to here and getting all of these and then putting them all the way over here, and you know, all that stuff. Okay, so let me just take over right here. Basically what I'm talking about is incorrect. And this portion, I'm saying how the power ground wires that are on connector A and B, we weren't going to be using them, but that is actually incorrect. We will be using them. They are supposed to be just ground wires that connect to the block, and then they go to the ground pin on the Link ECU. I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the video when we talk about the completion of the harness. And I'm also explaining how we're going to be ending up with extra wires that we can use for boost solenoids, ethanol sensor, fuel pressure sensor, and maybe even some coil on plug. I don't get to making the coil on plug in this video because, you know, I don't have any connectors or anything for it, but we can make that into a sub harness later on that I will make sure to put in future videos so you know what's going on. And yeah, I'm also just talking about how we're going to be commanding the harness on. That is about it. I think that's the only thing I said wrong here, and then we're going to get straight into it. So I'm going to leave you back here now. And then the ECU will be able to turn on, you know, our fan, you know, and then it's going to send the 5-volt references to our whole harness. And, you know, I'm sorry if I'm not being very descriptive about like explaining the whole electrical and wiring concept, because, you know, I'm not that good of a teacher. If you have any questions, I will gladly try to help you out in the comments. Go ahead and leave one. Whenever you want to, I will try to get to you. Also, speaking of comments, or speaking of replying, Thank you to everyone who's been watching the YouTube short that I released about the B20. I really do appreciate that. You guys are going crazy on that. I think as of recording it, we're at like 10,000 views and we're over 140 likes, which is like, that's crazy to me. I didn't know it was so good content to break motors, so I'll just break them all the time, right? Thank you to everyone who's been coming and who's also subscribed. We've gotten like 30 subscribers because of that short. So I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. I know it might be boring. I know this is a long video, but we just got to get it done. You feel me? So let's go ahead. We're going to get started and we're just going to go straight into a time lapse. Let's get it. All right. So one more thing I wanted to say real quick. I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to use. I know earlier I mentioned the pliers, but so we're going to be using regular dikes. We're going to be using our Knit picks, strippers, and it also has a cutter up here too. This is from the kit. This was what we're going to be using for our open barrel non-weather stripping terminals. And sorry if there's a lot of noise in this video, you guys. I have the window up, or not the window, I have the door up, and it's just really hot in here and I don't have good lighting. But if you guys want to help out, sorry about that again. Like there's, Honda boys and stuff coming around here and Ford STs that think they're really fast just because they got a really loud blow-off valve. But yeah, so what I want to just say is if you guys want to support the channel, I will have a link in the description. I don't know if it's going to be a Patreon or if it's going to be a like a donation link of some kind. Whatever it is, you will be getting some benefits from it. Like if it's a Patreon, you will be getting early access to the videos and also maybe a Patreon only Discord. I'm still working out the details of what exactly I want to do because I am trying to do all this by myself, but it's hard, man. I'm trying to start up this other business and that business is running me dry because it takes so long in order for you to get your license and you have to rent an office the whole time you're doing it and everything. And it's just a really long process. And I'm doing side jobs, of repairing people's cars, but, those only come so far and few in between, So if you guys want to help out, link in the description. Everything will literally go back into the car, and I won't be getting anything too crazy expensive for the car either. Like for the Honda, I'm probably going to get some Alibaba forge rods and like some stronger than OEM cast pistons and show you how the car runs, and also like maybe do an epoxy ring in the coolant jacket. If you guys want to do that, link in the description. Let's get back to it. So here is the master kit for the terminals that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So all these over here are for Deutsch connectors. Perfect. You get three different tools for that. So you're pretty much set. You got all the different gauges here from the very small of the 22 all the way up to the 12. So you're pretty much set. And also these blue ones are, like I said earlier, for the weather sealed open barrel connectors. But we are only going to be needing the red ones because we're not going to be doing any weather sealing ones unless we have to repin some of these, but that'll be later on. For now, what we're going to do is we're just going to get this into this. Also, real quick, I wanted to tell you guys one way for you to figure out, because these cheap harnesses are not exactly colored like what the OEM diagram is. So what you want to do is you look at it like this. This is the back side of the connector. And for example, connector A, which this one is, wire 1 is injector 1. On there it's brown, over here it's red. And so what you want to do is go over to your harness and you want to pull up your number 1 injector and red. There you go. It's a red. So we know that matches up, and then you just want to keep following it from there. And if you really want to be careful, you can do a continuity test. I don't know if I am. I hope that the seller was able to get the wires like correctly and not like have a break in them. But you never know. It is like I said, an $80 harness, and the quality sure does show. But enough talking. Let's get into it. All right, then, guys, I know you can't see me right now, but I just wanted to show you exactly what I'm going to be doing here. So here we have our barrels for the link. And what you want to do is, like you want to just kind of overlap them like this. this is where the copper will be right here, and then that is where that should just be the regular sheathing on these back teeth right here. So you want to put the front right there. So that's supposed to just give you an idea of where exactly you want to strip it. Go like this. That's honestly perfect. So if you have one of these, literally the maximum setting all the way to the front is what you want the stopper to be, and you should be fine with that. And then that will give you enough copper to crimp down right here in the front, and then also give you enough sheathing for it to bite down into for that rear part. I know it's hard to see because this isn't you know, like the best camera, but that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see that, but that's what it's looking like. You got the back teeth right here on the red, and you got the copper right there. Okay, so since we can see that we have good copper connection, and also we're going to be having a good grip on the sheathing of the wire, what we're going to be doing next is we're going to go ahead and grab our general purpose connect pliers. These are the ones I got from the Amazon kit. The good thing about these, the ones here on the Amazon kit, is it tells you the gauge that you're supposed to use them for. So like this one's 22 to 20, or 24 to 22, 24 to 20. So from what I'm looking at, I think the appropriate one to use would probably be our 18 to 20. With that one, we should have a good clamp on it. If not, you know, I think they give you some extras. So I'll show you how to check if that's correct. So what you want to do, open your pliers up, get your pliers into position, kind of close it a little bit. So there we go. So that's how you hold it. I'm sorry again, sorry that it looks like this. It's the best I could do for you guys. So we go ahead with this. We get this all the way in there. Make sure that's all the way to where it will be properly holding, and then boom. And there you go. You see, that was not enough. You probably can't see it. It just didn't crimp it enough. So yeah, the 18 to 20 was not it. So let me see what happens if I go and bring it over here to this one. Oh yeah, that one would have been way more. So yeah, you want to use the 22 to 24 one. That's the one you're gonna want to use. So that one's trash. We got a bunch more though, and I'm hoping that that was the last one we fuck up. Go ahead, put it on your 22 to 24 gauge on the pliers. So we have that, and then we go here. Put this into our section right here, and you want to make sure it doesn't like pop up on top of the other side. You want to make sure it just butts up flatly against it, and then we crimp, and then boom, there it is, crimped. Now you just want to give it a good pull, and boom, doesn't move. So that's how you crimp the open barrel half section there. And you really want to make sure that just because you have this one correct, you also need to get this secondary one correct. So these Amazon ones, like I said, they're great for that half open barrel part. But as you can see, they kind of have like the little rigid part on the back part of this. So that's what kind of like bends it up to give it a nice extra grip. But if you, I'll link these into the description as well. These pliers right here, they do the exact same thing on the Amazon side right here on the C, D, E, but on the A and B section, they are just, instead of it being like a V, it's a perfect circle. And then only on the other side is where it would like close down and clamp. That's really good for these tangs right here. So I'm going to be using this one from now on. I just wanted to show you what you could do with that one. The kit's still really nice to use it for, and you can still use this to do that, but I'm just going to use this. I paid like extra money for this one, so I'm just gonna show you. If you were gonna use this one, I think the E would have been the correct size for the copper part, and for the open barrel right here for the installation grabber, it will go on to our B. Okay, and then so what you want to do a little differently with this one, when you're going to be using the B connector, you put the tangs facing upwards like this, and then just gonna go ahead and crimp. Make sure you do a nice good squeeze and just get that off, and boom, bada bing, you have a nice and strong connection right there. That is literally going nowhere. That is on there, and that is our first injector wiring. It's probably going to be the only type of wiring that I'm going to show you when it comes to terminals for this video, because in the future I will be showing you different kinds, like the weather stripping or the weather seal ones. But yeah, man, that's just going to be for this. Let's go ahead and let's keep going. Alrighty then, you guys, one more thing I wanted to add in before we get right back into it is, so on the harness they have the fuel pump control signal wire. That is pin 7, I think, on the stock harness. So one thing I wanted to make sure that it's very clear to the people who are doing this that have a link, the auxiliary outputs, they are only ground. They are not power, okay? And you should be very careful not to short it, because if you short this, you're done. Like your ECU is gonna be fried. So keep that in mind. This wire, of course, probably goes over here into the because this is supposed to plug into the actual under dash, but it's fine. We'll take these apart, or we'll get the other connector for this. We'll put it on here, and then we'll build our own harness from this. But that's for, you know, way later. So anyway, I'm gonna put this probably on auxiliary 4, and just keep that in mind that when you want to control relay, it is only a ground signal. Keep that in mind, okay? That is also how we can have like everything else turn on for like the whole car, okay? I'll get into a little bit more of that when I'm actually plugging everything in and then building like the rest of the car harness. But for this video, I'm just going to show you how we're going to wire all this up into the link. Alrighty then, you guys, so don't mind the bed hair. It's the next day. I finished this up last night, but there are some things that I'm not quite done yet because I was trying to find them, and the harness, I figured out why it's so cheap. A rule of thumb is that when you ground stuff on the engine, you want everything like chassis, engine, and basically you want all the grounding points that are gonna be grounded to the same position, and they call that the star pattern. And so that would be like all the wires going to that single point, like a star. So the problem that I encountered was, one, when looking at the OEM Honda diagrams, like right here, they show, from what you can see here on the shielded wire, that is also to the grounding on the block. And when you do a shielded wire, you are not supposed to ground both sides of it. You only ground one side, and that side goes to the ECM on the shielded ground pin for the link, and everything else is supposed to just go into the regular ground pin. So the thing that's bad about this, it grounds the shielded wire as well as just the regular power ground wires. So what I was going to do, I was going to separate all of the shielded wire connectors. I was just going to put all of them into one, run that into a separate pin, and put that into the ECU. But since it can't do that because they don't exist, I'm gonna need to go ahead and buy a little length of the shielded wire connected to those distributor wires, and then also connected to the knock sensor, because the knock sensor is also shielded. Run that over to my ECU, put that into the shielded ground section, and then we're good. So, and then we can finally wire all the earth strap that's on the harness to the ground portion pin of the ECU. So that kind of sucks because I wasn't foreseeing that, but it's pretty much done. Okay, so let me show you what it's looking like. So here is the harness. So these are all of the extra wires. Here's connector A, and then here is connector B. Connector B has only got like 3 wires on it because like everything that the ECU wants to see was basically on connector A, and only some of the stuff like the knock sensor, sensor grounds, I put that on the second connector. The 5-volt reference, 5-volt temperature sensors, those were all on connector A. So here I'm going to put up real quick the wiring for a distributor. So this includes OBD 0, 1, and 2, all of the different styles of connector, and also in the top right it should tell you what pin of the distributor. Sorry about that. So on the top right, it should tell you what pin on the distributor is supposed to go on what pin on the ECU, but you don't want to obviously cut your connector at the distributor, because then how are you going to get your signal from the distributor? So what you do is you look at the pins on the distributor, you look at the right there in the middle section, or actually all the way at the bottom, and it's going to show you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to tell you what that is at the ECU stock B18 ECU pin, and there that will tell you, B14, B13, B12. You just look at that, correspond that with your wiring diagram, then you cut that, then you look at that top right portion and you follow with that. Okay, so for example, we have our sensor ground 2 and 4. If we look right here at the bottom right, our sensor ground 2 and 4 for the OBD1 harness is going to be B15 and B11. We now know what it is at the connector, so we cut that, we splice those into one, and then we put that into our ground 0, I think is what it's called on the link. On the ground out, that's what it's called. You put that on the ground out because Basically, the shielded ground pin and the ground out pin are basically the same. They're just, it's just like another option to give you for when you're pinning out the ECU. You can pin the shielded wire on either one. Yeah, man, other than that, that was like really like the doozy stuff. And then obviously like, you know, you want to connect all of your 5-volt references into one, and then you want to splice that into the actual connector like I have here. So like I have here, I have my red and yellow, I have it spliced in here and it goes in there. And that is for our 5-volt reference. Now, obviously you can make it look way prettier. This was really just like a really quick, like a really quick and dirty, you know, let's just get it pinned up and get it sorted kind of job, because, you know, this isn't going to be the permanent harness. This is literally like, this was just like a really cheap make a harness work solution, basically. I'm going to make it look nice. You know, you're never going to see those splices because it's going to have loom over it. Only you lucky few who watch the video get to see it. But yeah, man. So basically that's what you want to do when it comes to the grounding stuff. You want to just take out all the shield. If you have a stock harness, go into you're going to have to open it up, find where the splice is that connects the shielded wire ground to the rest of the body ground of that ground strap. You want to take that, cut that off. And once you cut that off, you can run that straight down into your, connect that one to your knock sensor earthing shielded ground, and then also pin that into one, and then you can put that in your ECU, and then you're all good there. And I hope you guys found that informational also for the distributor. It didn't take me too long to find that, so I'm sure you guys would have found it too. Let me think, is there anything else? You know, obviously like your intake air temperature sensor, your coolant temperature sensor, I have that running into a, here, I'll put it up on the screen right here. I put it up to the analog voltage. So those are those pins are what reads the 5-volt, reading on the sensors. Just as a reminder, because I think I also said it earlier, for the aftermarket ECUs, they only send out ground. They never send out power. The only power they send out is the 5-volt. Other than that, everything else is a ground signal. So for your injectors, for your like stuff you want commanded on, like your fan relays, your intercooler sprayers, stuff like that, that is all going to be just the auxiliary outputs. So, you know, like your boost controllers and all that. So a lot of the extra wire that I have on that harness, I'm going to be, you know, keeping on the side. So if I want to add a boost controller, I can. I can also just add a whole bunch of other things, which would be great. If you guys have any questions, go ahead, leave them in the comments. I will gladly try to help you to the best of my ability. You know, I am pretty good at wiring, but, you know, unless I really see what you're talking about, like with diagrams and stuff, I can't really help you. I'll try to help you the best I can though. And also, if you want to get a better hold of me, you can head down to the Patreon, become one of the supporters, and you can also get an access to our Discord. And in our Discord, you would be able to talk to me more one-on-one, and also be able to, I could also help you out with some stuff too, you know, whether it comes to how to start up your dealer business, or also how to tune your car, like, or wiring, just general mechanical stuff. So I can try to help you the best I can. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. Once again, I appreciate you guys for blowing up the last short on the B20. You guys went crazy on that. It's like at 10,000 views and like 180 likes. It's so insane. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will gladly be posting more. Thank you to like those 30 people that subscribed. You guys are amazing. We're at like 50 now, or I think 2 people don't subscribe. So we're at like 48, but still, man, that's a crazy amount in just like a couple of days. So anyway, let me stop yapping your ear off. I'll catch you up on the next one. Peace out.